All right, enough of the spending bill. Let's talk about spending at home because it's Christmas time. U.S. home sales fell 7.7% in November, making it a record 10th straight month of declines. Household income down, inflation up, plus all the death and sickness and everything else. Remember, Christmas time, while it is a wonderful, joyful time for many, myself included, it can be a very, very sad time for others. Joining me now, my friend Mike Slater of the amazing Politics by Faith podcast, giving people some perspective. Mike, Christmas time isn't all joy and happy for everyone.
No, not for everyone. And it fits in actually to the spending that you were just talking about. It fits into this like hopelessness, right? Like we voted for you Republicans, you betray us right from the jump. Like, what are we doing here? Just the state of our country. Read the other day, there's 7 million unemployed 25 to 54-year-old men who aren't even looking for a job. And they spend 2,000 hours a year on a screen. So it's 6 hours a day. Half of them are on pain meds. So the men of our country are playing Call of Duty stoned all day long. So there's like this general hopelessness in our country. And then, as you were mentioning, like people losing their jobs, all right? There's like, Christmas can be hard for people. There's this expectation of happiness and fun and cookies and carols and smiles and all this. But if you're watching this right now, this may be a terrible Christmas for you. Maybe a loved one just passed away. An old friend of mine passed away just a couple days ago. His family, their Christmas is gonna suck. It's like the worst Christmas ever. So if that's you, I just want to acknowledge that this is gonna be a hard year for you. My son was in the NICU for 2 weeks. They let him go, it was just a couple days before Thanksgiving. But there were a bunch of other kids in the NICU that did not go home for Thanksgiving. There's a bunch of kids in the NICU at your local children's hospital right now. It's tough. And I want to bring this up because if you want to commiserate with people who have experienced deep loss, it's all in the Bible. Job, Moses, Jonah, Elijah, and Paul all prayed to God to kill me. They weren't asking for relief so that they could enjoy the rest of their life. They were asking to die. So they were in quite a pit of despair, and they got out of it. And one of the ways they got out of it, and this is one of the things that they all had in common, and I think we need to get back to in our country, is they dealt with their soul. No one today ever talks about the soul. In California, they're debating a bill right now that would legalize psychedelic drugs. Right? And the idea is like, oh, there's people with anxiety and depression, so let's just have them trip out on magic mushrooms and we'll fix their brains. Like, geez, guys, that's what we need in our country right now, magic, psychedelic mushrooms. But it's all in the head, right? We all deal with the head. We never deal with the soul. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine, his dad passed away. He was 64. He had 4 kids, and I went to their funeral, and they opened with this stunningly beautiful version of "It Is Well With My Soul." And it was just my goal in life now is to live in a way that when I die, my entire family and friends can gather in a place and sing with a full heart and with complete assurance that it is well with my soul. But I was thinking, and super famous song, you've never heard it before. It's fantastic, give it a Google. But it got me thinking, and the story of the song is unbelievable. So the guy who wrote it, Horatio Spafford, you'd think, it is well with my soul. You'd think life was great, life was awesome for him, and every Christmas was amazing, but it wasn't. He had a wife and 5 kids. His first son died of pneumonia when he was young, 1871 this was. That same year, he lost his business in the Great Fire in Chicago. 2 years later, his wife and 4 daughters were on a boat from US to France. And he was planning to go with them, but he had to stay behind for a business thing. So he's like, you just go ahead, I'll leave a couple days later. 4 days later, the boat collided with another boat in the middle of the ocean. All 4 of his daughters drowned. His wife survived, made it to Wales a couple days later, sent a wire to her husband that said, "Saved alone, what shall I do?" How about that? Imagine you get that message, right? Saved alone, what the heck am I supposed to do now? So he got on a boat as soon as he could. And 4 days out into the ocean, the captain called him into the cabin and told him, hey, this is where your children all died. And that's when he wrote the song, "It Is Well With My Soul." So if you're having a tough Christmas, I just want you to think about these great men and people who have been there with you, and to work on your soul, because that's what we need to work on most in our country too.
Mike, tell me about the killing of Jesus. You have a special on the 1st. What's it about?
Yeah, everyone wanted to kill Jesus. It's unbelievable. We have like this very like nursery school, Sunday school image of Jesus, and of the Bible too, where like, oh, here's Noah and a boat with a cartoon giraffe and elephant. And we never really graduate from that idea of the Bible and of Jesus. And we have this idea of Jesus where he's like either a baby or he's walking around with a lamb under his arm all the time. But that's not how that was. People wanted to kill him. Obviously, Pontius Pilate, the Pharisees, almost everywhere he went, he would say things, and the people were so angry, they would pick up stones and try to kill him or throw him off a cliff. And then very beginning, King Herod wanted to kill him. He killed all the 0 to 2-year-olds in all of Bethlehem to prevent this king of the Jews from being worshipped above him. He saw himself as king of the Jews. So from the very beginning, the Magi wanted to worship him and the king wanted to kill him. And that's a metaphor for today too. That's our choice today. Murder him or worship him. And we all have that same choice today. So we explore all the people who tried to kill and wanted to kill Jesus in our latest special.